These are the actual animations from this very project that we're doing right now. After I made the video, I rendered them out in Eevee and Cycles. The Cycles render took forever, so Eevee wins on this because they look about the same. I also did a blood moon, and you can get the actual project file and this manual that I put together for free on Patreon. Let's put this moon together. All right, so we are in Blender 5.1.2. We got a new project, absolutely just like opening up Blender here. Let's go ahead and delete the cube. I'm going to press Shift and A, and we're going to add a UV sphere. By the way, UV, when I first started using Blender, I thought, UV, like, am I getting a sunburn? Ultraviolet? No, UV is just letters like XYZ, and if you wind back before the W, UV. So it's just XYZ, but now UV, the idea is that you've unwrapped something 3D like a sphere into a 2D, and then they just call it UV. All right, so I have an image. It's nothing special. It's not high res. It's just a full moon, and it's black and white. Here it is. We want to basically put this on our sphere in order to get a moon. So let's go ahead and start the process. So we're going to click on this red globe down here, and we're going to add a material. The first default material is called material 1, so let's just change that to moon texture. Done. And of course we don't see anything because we will want to map that. So I'm going to basically split the screen a little bit. We're going to go into the shader editor, and you can press Shift A and type in image and then add an image texture. Now, if I do that, then I need to go surfing and find my file, which you can click on open right there to do. But I'm actually going to click on this box for image texture. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to add an image the lazy way, which is going into my other screen, which cannot be seen in this video, and I'm just dragging the file, which is called moon full PNG. There it is. And then we'll just connect color to base color in the principal BSDF. Got to do a little better there. There we go. So now we have our moon texture mapped. And if we go here in the viewport to material view, wow. Okay, that's a wow with an asterisk, because our texture it's there. So it was that easy, but this is not going to fly. We're not making, I actually want to make this for a scene for a project that I'm working on and have a moon out the window and some other things. But this is not going to fly. So it needs to be mapped properly. And that means going into the UV editor. So before we even do that though, I'm just going to right click on my mouse and click Shade Smooth so that we get a nice sphere without those lines and vertices visible. Okay, so here I'm going to switch from object mode to edit, which can be done by pressing tab. So tab, press it a few times. All right, well, we want to end on. And then I'm going to press, this is in edit mode now. In object mode, you can move an object around. Edit mode, you cannot move an object around, but you can move vertices, lines, and planes around. But we're not worried about that right now because we just want to keep our sphere as it is. So I'm going to hit A, and that selects everything. And then I'm going to hit U. There's many ways to do this, and I'm not even sure I'm doing it the best way. But ultimately, a way that works, that's reasonable, will do the trick. So we're going to click Project from View, and now we've selected the vertices, lines that are in view. And we can now go to the UV editor and see what we got. And we see our image because we linked that already, and we see the UV map. Now, when I first started using the UV editor, I was very lost until I realized that when you're in the UV editor, it works just like the viewport. You can use G, just press G and then grab something. So I'm going to press, so right now I'm moving my mouse around, just the cursor moves. Now in the UV, just back here to hit A. If I hit G, now I can move the map around, and you can see the moon is changing. So for example, this actually is called the Sea of Storms, or Mare Crisium here, but like we're zooming in on the Sea of Storms, but we don't want to do that. We want to have the whole moon. So G is going to be something we're going to want to press, but I'm just going to press, oh, I keep doing that. I'm just going to press, out of control. I'm just going to press S for scale. So we're going to scale that up just about there. Now we'll press G again. And there we are. So let's just go back to object mode and material. So this actually looks pretty good, and this is pretty much the orientation. I think I would like this Sea of Storms, Mare Crisium, to be a little bit up. While we're looking at this, you can barely see it here because we haven't added good light yet, but the Tycho Brahe crater is here, and we have the Sea of Storms. This one is actually the Sea of Tranquility. This is the Sea of Fertility. This is the Sea of Nectar. This one over here is the Sea of Serenity, the Sea of Rains, the Sea of Clouds, and this one over here is the Sea of Moisture. So pretty cool. And this is actually the moon that we see when we look in the sky. I'd like the Sea of Storms to be about there. How do we do that? So I'm going to go back to Edit. And this time, instead of G to grab and move, or S to scale, I'm going to hit R. And we can see in the viewport that Sea of Storms. And I want it, I mean, we can rotate this thing all around, but it was almost where I wanted it. But once I make this moon, I want to use it in the project. I don't want to have to go in. Let's get it right. I think right about there is good. Beautiful. So we'll go back to object mode. Looking pretty good. So what next? Let's add a sunlight. Now, the default project has this light here. I'm just going to press delete to get rid of it. Easy. And then in object mode, I'm going to hit Shift A, and we are going to add a light, and it's going to be a sun. So now we've already added it. Now, if you click on this little arrow here, we can change where the sun is. So let's start with X. I think about there is good for the X on rotation, and then Y. Oh, these numbers are getting crazy fast. Alright, let's just leave it there. And then the Z. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, let's adjust that Y. I think I want to, yeah, just bring it down there. Oh, wow, that's pretty good. I'd like the background to be black, so I'm just gonna go here to the shader editor and going to change this to world, and we're just gonna bring the strength down. So I'm holding the middle mouse button and just navigating with the mouse. I'm actually have a trackball. So, I mean, amazing. This Blender 3D is just an incredible app. We've just opened this, and already we can create a moon in any phase. Unbelievable. I don't like this reflection in the moon, so I am going to go into the materials here, and you can see that reflection on the roughness. So there, it's like if it was, you know, marble or glass, it's really having a point. But let's just bring the roughness all the way up so that there's just no reflection of the moon. And while we're changing settings here for the sun, let's bring the strength up. Yeah, I think I'll just leave the exposure there. Also, we can change the color here. So if we want more, I mean, we don't want a ridiculous looking moon, but we can have the moon be any color we want. So if we want a more yellow one, and of course you can go as far as you want with this, adding glare and all kinds of effects, and I want to do that, but this is just to get the moon today. So that would be a bit of a blood moon. Let's change this Z value. That's pretty awesome. Maybe take the strength down. Oof. Unbelievable. All right, let's not get too creative today. So there we are. Bring the strength up. And that's pretty much it. But before we stop, let's do some animation. This way it actually changes phase, and we can just watch it. So I'm going to go into the timeline here, and the main factor that we change is the rotation. So we've got a new moon right there. Basically the moon has just disappeared. So I'm just going to press I on that, and that's going to drop a keyframe right here. And then, I mean, we can change all these numbers, but I don't want it to just loop. I want it to stop and be really dark for a while. So now let's go through the cycle to there. Okay, press I. Insert keyframe. It's a little tricky dropping the I when you also have the text box open for editing. Okay, let's press play. Unbelievable. So that is how you make a 3D moon, and you can quickly edit it to be any phase. Awesome.